BBOR Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. BlackBoxNid88 on Instagram for the bonus podcast. And welcome to BBOR, the home of true crime talk radio and your premier destination for unsolved mysteries, criminal psychology, and exploring the dark side of cyberspace. My name is Ned DeHaan, and I am your host, as well as the creator of AstroPsych 400 here on YouTube, and regular contributor to the Zodiac Killer channel. And a great way to support these shows is just by listening to some more content. But you can also go over to Amazon.com and have a look at the book Killer on a White Horse, written by me, Ned DeHaan. It is a novel, murder mystery, inspired by the Zodiac Manson connection, but it is indeed fictional. However, who doesn't love a good mystery? And there is always the TeeSpring page. Feel free to check out some of the merchandise. And remember, being weird is not a crime. Let the show begin. This episode of Black Box Online Radio is brought to you by Rep Sports and Raze Energy. Are you a fan of energy drinks, protein shakes, and health foods? Well, I sure am. I use the stuff almost every single day. They sell Raze Energy products at my local gym, but you can have them shipped to your home. Use the coupon code NED075, that's NED075, for discounts applied at the checkout. The link is in the description box.
Okay, hello everybody. Today is Friday, another Anything Goes Friday. Welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking all about the disappearance of Calico from 1988, which has since been dubbed the Polaroid mystery because of a very bizarre clue that has altered the course of its investigation. But before we begin, I would like to just say a big thank you to everyone who listened to the recent Zodiac Killer news report, which came out on Monday. Every Monday is Zodiac Monday here on this channel, and for the time being, I'm going to be doing a series of episodes on Wednesdays about the Long Island serial killer, so if you would like to follow along with these true crime discussions, you can like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out Black Box Online Radio, but also you can participate in the discussions, leave your comments down below, and they might make their way into a future episode. But with the disappearance of Calico, the motivation for this episode is twofold. The first is that back in 2015, 16, 17, even 18, lots of YouTubers were covering the story. I first learned about Calico because of some of those countdown websites. They would say things like top 5 unsolved missing persons cases, something to that effect, and Calico is frequently mentioned. And the first time I heard about this story, it just sent chills down my spine, and I knew that I was going to go down the rabbit hole somewhat, so to speak. But the second motivation is I did an old-fashioned black box recording for this channel back in 2018, and that was done as a pure podcast back when I did the show that way. However, there were some abnormalities with the episode, and I thought that I had shared all of my observations in that one, but because of those technical issues, I decided that that one wasn't suitable, and I would like to share them with you now. So, believe it or not, we're actually going to start with the Wikipedia page for a very particular reason, and a lot of other people on YouTube have done this because they like the way that a particular piece of information has been shared. Calico was born on February 28th of 1969. She is an American woman who disappeared near her home in Belen, New Mexico on September 20th of 1988. She is widely believed to have been kidnapped. In July of 1989, a Polaroid photo of an unidentified young woman and a boy, gagged and seemingly bound, was televised to the public after it was found in a convenience store parking lot in Port St. Joe, Florida. Family and friends thought the woman resembled Calico and contacted her mother, who then met investigators and examined the Polaroid. She believed it was her daughter after taking time, growth, and a lack of makeup into consideration, and the scar on the woman's leg was identical to the one that Tara Calico had. Scotland Yard analyzed the photo and concluded that the woman was Calico, but a second analysis by the Los Alamos National Laboratory disagreed, and FBI analysis of the photo was inconclusive. So you have all three results there about the Polaroid photo. The first was conclusive, inconclusive, and then one of them even said, absolutely not. More like positive, negative, and inconclusive, I guess, would be the three results. So the first point is that a lot of people like the honest phrasing of this Wikipedia article when it says that the two children in the Polaroid were found seemingly bound, meaning that we can't actually see any of their restraints, and if there actually are any restraints, and I don't mean to get ahead of ourselves, but there is this very big theory out there that these are just two kids going along with some type of joke or a prank or something because they only appear seemingly bound. And, well, we'll discuss that one later on in the episode. The first point, though, is that Tara did indeed go missing from New Mexico, not Florida, mind you, but New Mexico, on September 20th of 1988. She did a regular 30-plus mile bike ride. Some sources say that it was a 36-mile bike ride that she did practically daily. And not only did she go missing, but her bike also went missing. And some people think that that is very odd for any type of kidnapping or an abduction, because some forensic commentators on this case have said that normally if someone is abducted, they would leave something like the bicycle behind. But let's read the section on the disappearance. On Tuesday, September 20th, Tara Calico left her home at about 9:30 a.m. to go on her daily bike ride along New Mexico State Road 47. She rode that road almost every morning and was sometimes accompanied by her mother, Patty. However, Patty stopped riding with Tara Calico after she felt that she had been stalked by a motorist. She advised her daughter to think about carrying mace, but Calico rejected the idea. On the morning of Calico's disappearance, she had told Patty to come and to get her if she was not home by noon, as she had plans to play tennis with her boyfriend at 12:30. When she did not return, Patty went searching for her along Calico's usual bike route, but could not find her. She then contacted the police. Pieces of Tara Calico's Sony Walkman and a cassette tape were later discovered on the road. Patty believed that she might have dropped them in an attempt to mark her trail. Several people saw Tara Calico riding her bicycle, which has never been found. No one witnessed her presumed abduction, although several witnesses observed a light-colored pickup truck, possibly a 1953 Ford, with a camper shell following closely behind her. Well, can I just make the note? Tara seems like an incredibly strong person going on a 36-mile bike ride and then has to be back home so she can play tennis at 12:30. That detail never ceases to amaze me. And one of the other articles that I had read for this was from ATI that says, "A cold case heats up as a disturbing clue appears." On June 15th, 1989, nearly 9 months after Tara Calico's disappearance, a mysterious Polaroid picture was discovered in a convenience store parking lot in Port St. Joe, Florida, nearly 1,500 miles away from where she had disappeared. The eerie photo showed a teenage girl and a young boy lying on sheets and a pillow, with duct tape over their mouths and appearing to have been bound. The woman was found, and the woman who found the picture immediately called the police, telling them that a white Toyota van had been parked in the spot just before she got there. A mustached man in his 30s had been the driver. And it's important to note that there is a more extended photo where you can see the white side of the door. Or I guess I should have said the side of the van's door, which was white. And already I'm sure you guys have some idea about the children in this photograph, because there are a few peculiarities about it. Firstly, if they are indeed being held hostage in some way, there is a book there by V.C. Andrews, which appears to be very carefully placed, or it doesn't seem to be hiding, and it turns out that that was indeed one of Tara Calico's favorite books. However, her copy was present at her home, and she didn't take it with her on the bike ride when she would have been allegedly abducted. And it's not hidden in the background, it's in the foreground. And then the second one is that the girl in the photo appears to have kept up with regular hygiene. I mean, she seems that she is about the same age as Tara Calico would have been, 19 or 20. I mean, we can even say the woman rather than the girl at that age. And it appears that she has shaved her legs recently. And then the third one, and the most important one, is one that's a little bit more theoretical. Some people think that the boy in the photo is trying not to laugh. He is like concealing a smile underneath the duct tape. Now, what on earth could be going on there? Is this a prank or a joke? Or is this someone who is just not expressing the right emotion? Because one of the biggest rebuttals was just from somebody here on YouTube in the comment section when someone said, everybody needs to stop saying that this is a prank or a joke. You don't know how people are going to respond when they're in situations like this. If this were a real hostage situation, there is no way you could predict somebody's emotions or how would somebody behave if someone's taking a photo of them. But I do confess I can definitely see what people are talking about. It looks like the boy is trying not to laugh, but I mean, that person who wrote that comment is completely right. We don't know how people are going to behave in any type of situation like this. Even if we've experienced one firsthand ourselves, these are different people. The woman in the photo definitely does not appear like she is trying to laugh. She has a much either more serious or perhaps a saddened look on her face, but what do you guys think? You can weigh in the comments section down below. So they found that photograph in 1989, roughly 9 months after Tara's disappearance, and I'll get back to the article from ATI. Police staged a roadblock to intercept the vehicle, but the attempt to locate either it or its driver proved to be unsuccessful. The Polaroid gained national attention when it was shown on the television program America's Most Wanted, who turned in to the show and called Patty, telling her to look at the Polaroid. Was that Tara? Now, to answer the question, was that Tara? I'm going to share with you guys my initial observation, my gut feeling, my instinct. I thought what somebody else thought, and I read this on a forum somewhere, when somebody posted, why are people even asking the question, is that Tara in the photograph? Obviously that's her, right? And that was my initial reaction, that absolutely that was Tara Calico in the photograph. I mean, she's abducted, she vanished from New Mexico. 9 months later, a photograph of her surfaced in Florida, and it seems to resemble her very, very closely. Well, I had a big reversal on that, and that just came from looking at different photos of Tara Calico. And there was a very good diagram that had been made about this back when I did the first episode in 2018, where somebody had done an illustration where they took the senior photo or the recent photo, I should say, of Tara Calico, and they illustrated the duct tape over her mouth, like superimposed it. But instead, in 2022, I found this one where Tara has been shown side by side, and then there is a photo of the girl in the Polaroid if the duct tape had been removed. But if I had to make a determination now, not only have I had a reversal on this, I think absolutely the girl in this photograph is not Tara Calico for the following reasons. The first, I think, is rather obvious upon close examination, and that is that Tara Calico has a much rounder bone structure around the eyebrows. Everybody's just looking at the hair on the eyebrows and thinking that, oh yeah, the facial expression is going to change when when she changes her facial expression, her eyebrow is going to change shape, right? Absolutely. But if you actually look at the bone structure of her face above the eyes, she has a much rounder eye socket than the girl in the photograph, and I have to give credit to Corey Toomey of just that, CoreyToomey.com, who not only said that exact same thing that I'd been thinking for years, but also pointed out that the bone in her nose called the nasion, which I did not know. I thought it was called a nasion, but I checked the pronunciation. It says nasion. The nasion bone is above her eye level in Tara Calico's photo, and in the Polaroid girl's photo, the nasion is at eye level. Like, let's just say the bridge of her nose is higher in Tara Calico's photograph. So I'm just honestly shocked that Scotland Yard would say that this is the same person. Superficially, I mean, if you take a very quick glance and you would think, do these two people look alike? I would say yes, yes they do. But what do you make of the V.C. Andrews book where they said Tara owned the same book, she was a fan of that book, she was a fan of V.C. Andrews? Did the abductor just provide it with her and then binds her hands from time to time? I mean, anything's possible, right? But let's just address the elephant in the room with this particular situation. Is this a prank? I mean, can you imagine somebody like, say, a father having a laugh with two of his kids? I mean, the kids are just riding in the back of the van, and he's like, "Oh, hey, let's like make a little prank photo for mom, okay? All right, yeah, put your hands behind their back. No, hey, son, stop laughing. No, don't laugh. We gotta look real serious. Look like you're scared. Yeah, your sister's doing it. Yeah. Is this just a family messing around and doing something silly, and the father never meant to drop the photograph? He never meant to drop the Polaroid. If I had to make a determination right now, I would expect that that's what happened, based on all of the surroundings of the kids as well. Not number one, we cannot see any bindings. Number two, the book is placed there as if someone had been recently reading it, as opposed to someone who has been held captive for an extended period of time. Number three, the boy appears that he is trying to laugh, and we don't see any major restraints in the van or anything that is preventing the kids from rolling around or something like that. And finally, I mean, photo provides no motive for someone to take this picture of people who are being held captive. That would create additional evidence that would incriminate someone in that situation. I mean, is it just like a trophy photo from some sick perverted abductor? Maybe, but if I had to make a determination, I would think that this is either a prank or a joke. What do you have to say? Would you like to discuss that in the comments section down below? Now, if anything, I can't explain one thing. If this is just a family messing around a little bit, then why does she have an identical mark on her leg the way that Tara Calico did? That one, I don't have an explanation for you, but her mother seemed to think that that was identical. But that begs the question, if this person in the Polaroid is not Tara Calico, what actually happened to her back in New Mexico in 1988? And at this time, I'm going to introduce a new person into the story, and his name is Rivera. And why don't I just jump over to thoughtcatalog.com, and then we're going to use their article to help us out. Rivera, a Valencia County sheriff who joined the department the year after Tara went missing, claimed to know what happened in an article for the Valencia County News Bulletin. He says that he learned that two men, possibly teenagers, knew Tara and were driving behind her and accidentally hit her bike. He thinks they panicked, drove off, killed Tara, and then dumped her body. He alleges that the two other men were involved after the murder and have knowledge of the location of Tara's body. We do have a case put together, but we want to make sure the case is concrete to where we'll be able to effectively do our jobs. We're just waiting to get a little bit more evidence. Her bicycle, her clothing, or Tara herself, Rivera is quoted as saying in the article. Patty Dole, Tara's mother, died in 2006. John Dole learned of Rivera's statement through the media and ridiculed the announcement, questioning why the sheriff would make the comment without enough evidence to make an arrest. And absolutely, I can agree with John Dole there, because you have to wonder, how practical is that for somebody like Rivera to come forward and say, well, I might know what happened, but I'm not going to do anything yet. That really isn't helpful to the families, and if anything, that is almost just adding impracticality to injury. But from the past, when I was reading up on this, Rivera's alleged story is that there are these two guys that are driving behind Tara in a truck, and that it used, as you heard, they accidentally hit her bike, and they took Tara to a quarry, and they submerged her into water. And this whole thing about how, yes, the bike was hit with the truck, and they threw the damaged bicycle into the back as well, along with Tara, and they drove to the quarry, and that she was actually underwater. But 33 years, many quarries are drained at times, or maybe they took her to a different location. We won't really know because Rene Rivera didn't share all the details. However, his legitimacy in law enforcement was heavily criticized for some other things, which I'll talk about in just a second. But as far as his theory, that again does not require too much imagination. You got two guys who are driving alongside Tara, and if I understand how he laid it out, maybe they're messing around a little bit. They're saying something like, "Hey, girl," or something like that, and then they start teasing her, and then they're just trying to drive the truck a little bit closer to her, maybe even to scare her a little bit, and they accidentally hit her, and she's injured. And you heard his statement there that they panicked after they injured her, so they forced her into the truck, and they threw the damaged bicycle into the truck, and not even noticing that she had dropped her Walkman, and then they drove off to a different place. But this would mean that Tara died around the time of her disappearance. And I do have to insist that in many of these missing persons cases, that is just the answer. Many of the unsolved missing persons cases that go on for 10 or 20, or in this case, 30 years. Someone has usually passed away at a very close time to their disappearance, but they simply were unable to locate their remains. That's why there are no additional sightings. And if it weren't for that Polaroid, you would have to wonder, would people be examining this case in the same way, or would there be so much more of a focus on a murder investigation as opposed to only an abduction? Thought Catalog also posts something that in 2013 the case was reopened by local and federal agents. A 6-person task force was selected that included agents from Homeland Security, the New Mexico State Police, the Valencia County Sheriff's Office, and the Albuquerque Police Department, as well as the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office. A deathbed confession was made by a man named Henry Brown. Brown told police that his neighbor, Lawrence Romero Jr., and several friends openly discussed killing Tara on the day that she went missing. Romero's father was the Valencia County Sheriff at the time of Tara's disappearance. Brown's confession and subsequent documents are public record and can be read on the website scribd.com. Is that how you pronounce that thing? SCRIBD, Scribd? But I should just point out that that confession was nearly 10 years ago, and still the case remains unsolved. And in 2019, there was another update. In October of 2019, the FBI announced a reward of up to $20,000 for anyone who had information that would lead to the location of Tara Calico. And just a little bit more information about Rene Rivera's theory. I'll go over to an article from grunge.com that says, in 2008, Valencia County Sheriff Rene Rivera said he believes two men were driving down Highway 47 on September 20th of 1988 when they accidentally struck and seriously injured Tara Calico. As reported by Thought Catalog, Rivera believes the men panicked, placed Calico in the truck, and drove away. According to Rivera, the men later, assisted by two other men, who helped them kill Calico and dispose of her body, although he admitted there was little or no evidence linking the four men to Calico's disappearance. Rene Rivera said, the Valencia County Sheriff's Department has a case to put together, but they want to make sure that it is a concrete case. During a 2009 interview with Investigation Discovery, Rivera revealed that he thought the two men in the truck were actually teenagers and their parents may have helped cover up the crime. He also said that he believes Calico was likely buried somewhere in Valencia County. As reported by the True Crime Times, Calico's family was disturbed by Rivera's assertions because he would not name the suspects and did not have enough evidence to make the arrest. I do think that that's something that we need to say a second time, especially when he's adding in all of these details, because he is trying to say that now there are 4 participants, but if he won't even talk about the ringleaders, and what's even what's more important is that in 2011, Rene Rivera was going to resign and has never been considered as a person of interest, or he has never brought forward as person of interest, but he was arrested and charged with domestic violence in 2017. And the whole point is that Rene Rivera is a questionable character in his own right. And I want to ask you guys, though, what do you think about this particular case? Do you think that there is any chance that his theory could be true? That scenario of how two guys are driving by in the truck, they accidentally hit Tara, so then they injured her and they brought her to a different location where she was murdered, and they think that they're going to get charged with a crime, so they decided to just do something to silence her, which ultimately led to her death, and with the assistance of two other men, they buried her in a different location. I do remember reading that thing about how she was buried in the quarry, but that just going off of memory from years ago. That theory, I'm really not sure about because there are so many details. I mean, two people in the truck plus two additional participants. And what Rene Rivera is saying is that he obtained this info some way, somehow. There are reasons why he thinks that there are four participants and that she was murdered and buried, and as well as her bicycle being buried. But the fact that he cannot support any of this with more facts really is just quite bizarre. But one final point I should share is that for a while it was believed that the boy in the Polaroid was named Michael Henley, and they thought that he had been positively identified as well. But Michael's remains turned up later on, and he had wandered away from a campsite on a family camping trip, and they believed that he simply died from exposure to the elements. So that theory went out. But there really are two mysteries here. Number one, what happened to Tara Calico? And number two, what is going on with that Polaroid? And I will just leave you guys with those questions. Do you think that it is Tara and the Polaroid, or do you think that that is just a family doing something silly, like they don't even have real restraints on? They're just having a laugh. They're gonna do some type of prank, and then the dad dropped the photos, or I mean, it's a Polaroid, it just comes out of the camera immediately. What do you think, though? And I will definitely approach any of your comments with an open mind as long as they are respectful. And anybody can write the show at BlackBoxOnlineRadio at AOL.com. You can also get me on Facebook. My personal Facebook is in the description box. And BlackBoxNid88 on Instagram. Share anything you would like, and I'll see you over there for the bonus podcast. Until next time.